Hey,
Some days I think I could just listen to that whole song,
I think I could. I don't want to get tired of it, but I feel the same way.
right? Hey, my friend, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you doing?
It's been a week. It's been a week.
That's a great way to
So,
put it. Yes.
yeah, I am glad to be here with you, and
Yeah.
I'm glad to have our conversation today about physical wellness. Should we do intros first and then jump
Yeah.
in?
Let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, ladies.
Let's
So
do
I
it.
am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial business owner, the founder of Shalo Glow LLC, a handmade shea butter company. I am your business care and self-care advocate.
I love it. And I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, and published author who helps you upgrade yourself in community care.
And together we are Women Connected in Wisdom, a podcast grounded in the 8 dimensions of wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on the week, we have really cool guests, which I'm excited to introduce you to today to our guest. But, we come together for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business and relationships
Yeah.
and wellness. And
Yeah.
I don't know about our listeners, Shannon, but I always look forward to this pause in my week to catch up with you, to really to take a moment to check in with myself
Hmm.
about how is the week going,
No,
right?
really. Yes.
Because it's Wednesday, middle of the week. Like,
Mhm.
how's it really going?
Yeah.
So, here in Atlanta and in a big part of the South, we've had really huge storms the last
Mhm.
couple of days. So, power's been knocked out, internet's been knocked out, trees down, all kinds of craziness, trying to be out here doing our business.
Yeah.
Uh, but so, I don't know about you, but I'm a little discombobulated this week.
No, no, definitely. And it's funny, I tell the people close to me, I'm like the lighter Zartha from Men in Black, and my emotions affect the weather. So when it was storming and stuff, I was thinking about Mother's Day. I think
Right.
about physical wellness. We're thinking about cancer. We're thinking about corona. This is what we talk about a lot of the times.
Right.
And it's physical wellness. Had it been different, the story would be different. So I was storming as, yeah, knock the power out. We don't need these connections. Just knock everything out. So I'll
Right.
say that was my fault. Sorry.
All right.
Sorry, Sal.
All right, powerful woman. I hear you.
Hey.
Yeah, you know, we talk often about body memories and
Hmm.
physical wellness, and you
Yeah.
and I were having a conversation earlier about how we talk about March being the month for the coronavirus and shutting things down, but it didn't really hit a lot of people until May. I
Hmm.
mean, and that's coming up for a lot of folks. Like
Yeah.
those memories of trauma and the memories of what was happening a year ago
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's important to remember. So let's jump into our definition so we can talk about
Sure.
specifics. So,
Let's do
yes, physical wellness is the ability to maintain a quality of life that allows you to get the most out of your daily activities without undue fatigue or physical stress. Physical wellness recognizes that our daily habits and behaviors have an impact on our overall health, well being, and quality of life.
it. Yeah. Boy, that line about our daily habits and behaviors have
Yeah.
an impact.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't gotten as much sleep this week because of the
Mm,
storms and because of power being out and different things.
yeah.
And I'm a little grumpy. It does
Hmm.
impact my physical wellness, like when my
Yeah.
routines change. And because I've been lucky enough to set up my schedule that I know what works for my health
Yeah.
and wellness. And
Mm,
I am a 7.5 hour sleep gal.
mm.
What's your perfect number on sleep?
I've been trying to figure it out. I've been working on my time freedom and my financial freedom. And with the time freedom and me setting up my schedules for the first time, like you're talking about, you've been doing it for a while, but
Mhm.
I'm having the opportunity in Corona to set up all these schedules myself. So what works? I don't know yet. I'm still in the middle of figuring it out, but I would definitely say 8. I know
Right?
it's on the more side than the less side. Absolutely, yeah.
I know that seems like a pretty simple question, but when I teach interplay
Mm,
and
mm-hmm,
we talk about things like change your practice, change your life.
Mm.
Sleep is one of those questions that comes up because it is such an integral part to physical wellness. Like, what routines and patterns of behavior can you change to impact that? And it doesn't have to be a lot. Like, it can be something really incremental. It can be like, I know my body well enough, Shannon, to know that like I like to get up before the sun comes up.
Mm.
I just do better. You know, it could be biorhythms. It could be, I'm not really educated on the biorhythm stuff, but I always say that
Right.
word. We need to
Right.
get a guest that can explain that to
Their
us.
their circadian rhythms.
All of that,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
what I know from my own research of my own self is when
Right.
I wake up before the sun, I have so much more energy when I am greeting the sun and and so even if I'm short on sleep, it's better for me to wake up before the sun and take a nap later in the day than it is to sleep in for my own body.
Mm.
And I know everybody's different, right? And that's
Yeah.
the part about physical wellness, about checking in with our individual selves.
Mm. Yeah.
Because we come from different places and we're different people and
Yeah. And we're in different situations in our life. You know, right now we have neighbors and music has been up. People's schedules are different. So I'm going to sleep. Somebody else's footsteps might be up because they're about to go to work, you know. And so I enjoy the life I have right now, but that's something I look forward to when I get my dream home and all of the stuff that we talk about manifesting.
right. Well, I can tell you, you know, I have my home, but I
Yeah.
also have young adults living with
People in
me.
it. Right.
And it is kind of like living in an apartment.
That's a good point. I didn't
They
think
don't
about the kids.
thing, right? Well, it kind of depends. My oldest daughter is in the attic. It was finished off, so it's kind of like a efficiency apartment up there,
Mm.
and it's right above my bedroom. So like I hear the going up the stairs and the shutting the door, and you know,
Yeah.
yeah, she's really considerate about music, but the steps, man, I'm like, what are you doing up at 3 a.m.?
Right. How'd you know? What do you mean? How did I know? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
When I look at this definition, I think about um, how it allows you to get the most out of your daily activities, right? Like when we talk about kids, we talk about development and reading and what they should know and where they should be physically. But a few years ago, I realized that conversation really stops after about 18. And then there's this gap. And then we expect to fall apart. I said, oh, I'm not doing that. Fall apart. No, every year is about to be better than the last. And I try to make it so that that is the truth. And especially physically with Corona, you
I
know,
love.
it's important to be front of mind.
Well, that makes me think about one of our first guests, Dr. Sheila K. Collins, that we had on physical. Was she on physical? No, she was on something else, but we probably should have had her in physical because
That's true.
Sheila dances almost every day. And
Mm,
I think about that, and I think I won't say her age because she's my co-author and she'll kill me. But you know, I think about her age and the fact that if I am still dancing every day
yeah,
at that age, right? Because she doesn't
yeah,
think about falling apart. She thinks about moving,
right.
right?
She said, if you can move it, move it. If it's your eyelid, if it's your elbow, move it. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah.
I love that because I know and I think you're right on the up to 18. So I
Hmm.
was really active in sports growing up. I played volleyball, I ran cross country, I ran
Wow.
track, I played tennis.
Mm.
Full disclosure, I played tennis because I wanted the cute little tennis icon on my letter jacket. But
Okay.
I was okay. It's
Yeah.
the
The
girliest thing
Letterman jacket is important. Yeah.
but I did all that. And then when I got to college, I wasn't playing sports in college because I had a really bad injury my senior year playing volleyball. But
Mm.
I kind of fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
And then for my 40th birthday, I ran my first triathlon because I
Hey.
realized in my 30s, I was like, wait a second,
Yeah.
my body does not like this. So,
Hmm.
how can we be active every single day?
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up right now is because I didn't even have a chance to tell you this. I got my bike to the bike doctor. 2 weeks ago, I did 7 miles on the bike. Last week,
Ooh,
I did 11 miles on the bike.
let's
So
go.
I'm jumping back on,
Good job.
and um, I'm probably not going to race this summer because I still don't, I'm
Yeah.
not swimming enough to be racing, but by next year, I think I will be. So
I like that. I like that as a goal. And it's interesting, before we bring our guest on, I actually have a similar story too. So in high school, I had weight training. I was in marching band. We were doing all this stuff. I used to go out with my dad and cut lawns in the summer. And then I went to college. And as I started in college, I actually worked at the gym. So, if you work there now, it's even more time if you want to work out. Then they
right.
changed the uniforms to where we couldn't wear our workout clothes under our uniforms. It was just another reason not to do it. Fast forward a few years later, I'm eating gummy bears way too late at night, and I see a picture of myself. I'm like, when did I get this big? I said, no, we got to change it. And I realized I was overcommitted to everybody else, and I would show up for them. But when it was time to change my habits, I wasn't showing up for me. And that's how this podcast happened. That's how Shayla Glow happened. That's how all this stuff got here. But we'll talk about it.
I know. I am excited to bring on our guest. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So, all right, let's bring on our guest and continue this conversation about wellness and physical wellness. Our guest, Mariela, is a small business owner, a content creator, and an actor. I can't wait to talk to her about that. She is the owner and founder of Percal Naturals, and she treats skin conditions naturally, which I love that. So we're going to bring her on and have some good combo. Here we go. Welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to Women Connected in Wisdom. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So excited.
Yeah. Tell us about your company and who you tell us about you.
All right. So me in a nutshell, I just had an interview recently for a talent agency. I had to do this. So script is ready. So me in a nutshell, I am, small business owner, Percal Naturals, specifically handcrafted natural products for treating skin conditions that, it's something that came about because I myself dealt with a skin condition that, kind of got in the way of what I was trying to achieve in life, and it actually really affected me. So I was able to find relief in these products, and I kind of, the point of the brand is just to bring awareness to alternatives that people can have if they're going through the same thing. I'm a content creator. It used to go hand in hand with acting. I used to specifically content create with comedy skits. I was all about TikTok all day, every day. But now my content creation has taken a turn. I specifically content create for small business owners, kind of documenting my experience and my journeys from building a small business from scratch, and the things that have worked for me. And things that are actually working for me, which are the reasons why my small business is growing. So I've decided that I wanted to share that knowledge with other small business owners and entrepreneurs. And actor, I'm an actor. It's one of the reasons why I moved to Atlanta. So I'm really happy to be here for it.
Right. All right. Is there anything we would have seen you in lately?
I did a Christmas film. It was an indie film. It was called Some Kind of Christmas. It should be available on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure. You can look it up. I had to do some crying on cue there. I think I actually finessed it pretty well.
Good job.
And I recently shot a commercial for this brand, Third Love. Are you guys familiar? It's
No.
undergarment underwear brand for women.
Beautiful.
So I recently did a commercial for them.
That is awesome. So cool. Very cool. You're our first actor we've had on the show. Well,
thank you. I'm surprised because everyone in Atlanta is an actor.
We know about it. It just hit me because I know Sheila was in a movie too once. We didn't talk about it on the podcast.
We didn't talk about that.
Being based out of Atlanta, that really probably should be a question for our guests, because we probably have a higher percentage of people than most, because a lot of folks it can be their profession, or they can do it as extras, or so that is
that's true.
So, Mariela, when you heard us talking about the definition of physical wellness, what bubbled up for you when you think about that?
Oh my gosh. When you were talking about, times in your lives where you have, had epiphanies and be like, I let myself go, like what's going on. I used to be more active before. It literally brought me back to when I worked corporate America, you know, like that was the end of me when it came to like physical wellness, because I think, you know, throughout high school I did sports. I was pretty okay. College, I wasn't working out as much in college, but I was very active because I was going to school full time. I was working full time as well. So I was constantly running back and forth. I had a job that required me to be on my feet for hours. So I still was able to be very good physically. But when I graduated college, that's when things started going, you know, downhill, because corporate America, you're just sitting on a desk for 40 plus hours a week, you know? So I didn't realize how much that was affecting me till it started affecting me not only physically, but also like mentally and emotionally, because I suddenly started feeling like, for a lack of a better word, I started feeling like crap. You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
why do I feel so slow? Like, why do I not feel as happy? But that's
Mm-hmm.
because I think that was a straight correlation with the physical changes that were going on in my body as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that. Like for your company, right? You help people with, we talked about this, women with skin issues with natural ingredients. So that was one of my things too, acne. And I know that they always talk about, oh, well, did you have any sugar? Did you drink any sodas? That's the ones they
Right.
go to. But, and that's, I think that is one of the triggers for me and my skin, right?
Right.
But the gut psychology, and I think we talked about this when we met, how the environment of your digestive system is directly related to your brain and how you think about things.
Right.
So on top of us probably gaining weight and being slow, we're probably dehydrated, right? Because we're taking care of this job, but we're probably not drinking enough water. It affects all of that stuff too. What do you think about let's talk about acne, right? Specifically, because again, that was a huge thing for me, and it definitely changes the way that I feel about myself, depending on
Right.
how it looks. You know, how do you think when you think about women and acne? What do you think about? Like, how can they be focused
Yeah.
on their wellness outside of just the products that they're using?
Right. So acne for me was also a big one. It's literally what got me to start the brand.
Right.
um I started, like, I never really had acne like throughout like my teenage years. I would get a pimple here and there, you know, like regular hormonal acne, but adult acne like hit me like a truck.
Hmm.
And you know, I was in a point where, you know, I kind of hated my job. My body was already feeling like crap, and I just was so miserable. And then on top of that, then my skin just started rebelling against me. Like, and when I
Hmm.
mean like acne, I don't mean like one pimple here and there, like visible. My skin was going downhill. People were starting calling it out, you know, like, what's going
Hmm.
on with your skin, which is also
Hmm.
something that, you know,
Hmm.
upsets your mental. Because for me at first, like, I just thought like, oh, my body's going through something, like it's going through a change, like that's okay, like your body goes through
Right.
cycles. But then when
Yeah.
people start calling it out,
Hmm.
you know, the first thing they see you, and the first thing they see is your acne, like it really starts affecting you. And it started affecting me, like, that was also when I was making the transition between New York and Atlanta. And I specifically came to Atlanta for acting, but my
Hmm.
acne was affecting me so much that I didn't even feel worthy to be in front of a camera. You know,
Hmm.
like, I
Hmm.
stopped posting on social media. I didn't even like go out to meet new people because I just felt like my acne was holding me back so much.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone has to, not just women. I mean, maybe women go through it a little bit harder because we're expected to take a little more care of our image than men. But it's something that can affect anyone mentally, because you think it's just something that my skin's going through. But when people emphasize it, you know,
Yeah.
and people call it out, and it suddenly becomes part of your persona, like people don't
Hmm.
see you, people see your acne, it's
Hmm.
really what affects it. So that's what led me to start my brand, because I was trying everything, dermatologists, prescriptions, everything, and it
Yeah.
wasn't helping
Yeah.
me until like what natural products is what did it for me. So my brand is like, it wasn't only just like natural products for any skin condition, but specifically like, here are some alternatives and some natural alternatives that might also make you feel better in the long run rather than just
Hmm.
harsh prescription. But I totally get it. Like, I've been there, and that is
Yeah.
why I started this brand, literally.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that you thought you were coming to be an actress, and now you get to be an actress and a business owner.
Yep.
Now you get both, and you get to help all these people. I love that so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, it feels great. I mean, if you and now, back when I was going through that, I was very embarrassed. But now,
Of course,
I
I
mean, my
understand.
acne is gone, as you can see, but I'm not embarrassed to share the story. So if you were to go to the website perconaturals.com, like, it is front and center. Like, it's a
Yeah.
story that I am more than happy to share.
Well, we will link that for sure in our show notes, because our listeners that'll be listening and aren't maybe not seeing us, they may not be watching us on video. Y'all need to see her skin. It is
Yes.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
you're like,
there's like before and after, and a case study on the website as well as like other customer stories. But it's something that, it was hard sharing, but I'm like, hey, it's gonna help other people.
thank you. And thank you for being vulnerable with that. Because that is one of the things that I think Shannon and I really have noticed with a lot of our guests is they're doing big work in the world. And it does take that vulnerability,
Yeah,
like
it
that
does.
authenticity and
Mhm.
vulnerability and showing up for each other, especially as
Right.
women. That, I think sometimes the media and the world wants us to believe, oh, people just get up and they look like this, or, it always looks as good, right? And unless we say to people, oh, yeah, did you know that I had this, or this happened, or, oh, this is what worked for me. I
Yeah.
think that's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would
Yeah.
also encourage our listeners to go to your website. I was on it earlier today, and it's a gorgeous website. And
Thank
we
you.
will put it, it's percalnaturals.com, and to check it out and yeah, it's really awesome.
I love it. And especially what you said, Mariela, about not feeling worthy to be on camera, right? That's a real feeling. I completely understand. Okay, this day, I don't want anybody to see the left side of my face. Like, how do you balance that and still having to do what you have to do? But that's why I love this podcast, because women have been told what they should look like, what every part of their life should look like. And then if we don't meet certain standards, now we're questioning our worth as a person. And
Right.
your skin and the value of your life are two completely different things.
Huh.
But I completely understand what you mean when you're like, not again. I have something to do today. This is not what I need. Yeah. Yeah. Go
I
ahead,
have a question,
Christine.
because we're talking about physical wellness today.
Mm.
Mariela, what do you like to do now, like for your physical wellness?
Ooh.
Like, give our listeners some of your, like, this is what I love to do and brings me joy.
Right. I think what I love to do is just doing me. Like, I felt like I came to Atlanta with so many expectations of the things that I wanted to do, but other people's expectations were stopping me. And I feel like after I dropped listening to other people and actually doing what I love, it's literally what has made, like, I feel like I am the happiest I have ever been. So I am
Good.
physically well, I'm mentally well, I'm emotionally well, and it's literally because I'm doing what I love. So I wake up in the morning happy. I go to sleep happy, and I think that's the best kind of wellness, just not putting yourself through situations like you got to force yourself to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have an exercise routine you love, or something that you recommend to listeners?
I keep saying that I gotta work out more. I keep saying it. But you know what? I am a dog mom, and I feel like being
Okay.
a dog mom keeps me active enough.
Yeah.
Give a shout
Having
out to your
to,
dog baby. What's your dog
it's
baby's name?
Crusher. His name is Crusher. But having to walk a 65-pound muscle dog down the street is enough of a workout for me. So I think, like, if you want to be more active, just get a dog.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you gave us his stats, because I had the image when you said Crusher of this teeny tiny, like,
Oh
tiny.
no, he's actually a crusher.
He's an
Yeah.
actual crusher.
He lives up
Yeah.
to his name.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's literally it's a social fact that dog owners tend to be more active because you have to go outside. You have, I try to be as active as I can be just for him.
Hmm. It's funny. That's actually specifically why I don't want a dog right now. Like I'll be active. I'll stick to the workout schedule that I give myself. But I want to be able to sleep if I want to sleep and get up if I want to get up. When you have that dog scratching at the door,
Yeah,
you
no,
got
it's
to
like
get
having a
up. So
child. It's like
yeah,
having
I'm
a
not. I want to
child.
put
It's
it
a
off.
creature with needs. You can't
Yeah.
just like not want, like, I'm not gonna walk you today. Like,
Right.
excuse me, I need to be walked
Right.
today.
Hmm.
Yeah, but it keeps you more
Well,
active. Trust me. Sometimes I'm just walking him, and I don't know where I just start sprinting down the street because I want to see who runs faster. So
Yeah,
it keeps you active.
that's
so
funny.
you have spontaneous exercise.
Oh
I
yeah,
love that.
I do.
I like that. That's what you could tell people. I work out spontaneously. I like to keep it
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, or I try to do, activities that keep me active. Like I love hiking.
Yeah,
I think it's a great workout. I actually
it is.
I already started planning out my hiking for this summer, like trying to do it like every other weekend. I think that's all
Yeah.
the exercise I'm gonna need.
Shannon and I
Good.
are both hikers too, Mariela.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite trail or a favorite hike or one you're looking forward to?
Well, I went to Stone Mountain
Hmm.
last summer. Um, and I liked it. It's the only hiking trail I've been to here in Georgia, but I really like it. It seemed nice enough to go solo. And
Hmm.
that's something like I want to do a lot more of, like solo hiking, just like me and Crusher. So I feel like I'm probably, and it's like what, 30 minutes away from Atlanta. It's right there.
Hmm.
So I'll be spending quite a lot of time there this summer, but I definitely do want to discover new trails here in Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I always recommend one of the places I take visitors and folks that are new to Georgia is Tallulah Gorge Falls. Um, there are some paved trails and there's some off paved trails, but it is gorgeous. And there's
Nice.
also
Where's that located?
it is north, so it's
Okay.
north Georgia, and I'll send you a link to it, and we'll put a link for our listeners. But it
Hmm.
has also got killer steps. Like if you want to do steps to climb down to the bottom of the gorge, I think it's like 650 down there and back
Oh
up. So
wow.
it's a workout, but it's a gorgeous workout. It has some of the largest waterfalls in Georgia, and
Oh.
so it's worth the drive from Atlanta. Probably 2 hours north.
Okay.
So, but it's a state park, so it's a really it's I recommend it for everybody to
Okay.
check.
I think I've heard my sister-in-law mention it previously.
Yeah.
So I definitely got to check it out.
I used to hike Stone Mountain on a regular, but I'm so frustrated by the Confederate monument. That's the largest Confederate monument in the nation, and
Yeah.
the history of that place is really dicey. So, so I struggle with that. I struggle with giving them any pennies.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, you know what's funny? One of the reasons why I visited Stone Mountain is because someone told me like it's the largest Confederate monument. I'm like, oh well, I have to go check it out. Then I've never seen it. And then it was in the during the era last year, where the BLM movement was at its height, and a lot of Confederate monuments were getting replaced. And I'm just like, how big can it be? Like, I'm sure they could cover it up. And then when I saw this huge stone,
It's
I
huge.
was like, oh, okay.
right. Well, my good friend Wendy Blue, who is the executive director of Reforming Arts, had a really good point. What they said was, we don't, as taxpayers, we pay to upkeep that monument. We don't even have to destroy it. If we will just quit paying for the upkeep, Mother Nature will take care of it. Like Mother Nature, the mountain will take it back, or
Right.
erode it. But we as taxpayers are paying for it right now. And like that's the part that just drives me crazy. It's like, but we have some laws on the Georgia books and from the House legislature that we need to change, because they put laws in place to where we can't touch Confederate monuments. And so that's what we need to change first in order to make some long-term changes. So welcome to Georgia.
Hey, it's a blue state now. So
Right?
Yes. And I love how we met, me working for my company and reaching out. And on Valentine's Day, you were supporting the female entrepreneurs and then being connected as we do in wisdom, right? I came over here with you and we've been able to host each other and, offer our platforms so that we can keep growing and doing what we're doing. And
Right.
that's what I think about. Like, I think I have to think about Georgia and the history and how I feel about things, but then I try to balance it with, okay, well, this is what I'm doing to actively make it better and work on the future looking how I would like it to look, and with the
Right.
connections and the histories and the herstories that I would like to put out there, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do as much as I can right now. Just getting involved in the community. You know, I want to blend into the community as well, but I also know like there's some areas that need work that me being an outsider, I'm still willing to like be part of the change.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's healthy. I think there's
Yeah.
definitely a balance of both. So I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. And I like what you've done with your company. And I told you this already, but for you as a young woman to move to another state to chase what you want to do, I love that. I was like, we got to have her on the show. She's got to come talk to the ladies.
Thank you.
Right? Absolutely. Because that's what it's about, is about lifting each other up and supporting each other.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, everyone in Atlanta has been, um, to my surprise, really, because New York is so cutthroat competitive. But everyone that I have met in Atlanta has been so supportive. Every other small business owner, every other actor, every other content creator, like the amount of willingness in the city to share ideas with each other, I absolutely love it.
Mm.
it is very fun. I am curious, coming out of the pandemic, because Mariela, I, I was, let me back up. Teacher, let me rewind my brain. Today, I got news of like 2 organizations that were closing, because of different reasons, and they're in the arts and there are things like that. And it's just such a bummer. And I'm curious, as we emerge from COVID, like, what organizations are going to spring up to support the arts, to support acting, to support, like, because things are changing, right?
Right.
And so I think I'm a little, I'm holding both grief and gratitude about it, because part of me is like, oh, I want to connect you to this organization. And then in my brain, it's like, oh, they just closed their doors. And,
Yeah.
And then, but there's always, new ones spring up, new ones come out of this, out of chaos and out of tough times. So I'm curious
Right.
to see how we emerge from this time and period of our history. We're going to be talking about it when we're old ladies, y'all.
Yeah.
Like 2020, let me tell you about it.
What
I'll be like annoying grandma.
What a year. No, really. You're going to listen to what I have to say. It was crazy, okay? Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day.
So what Mariela, coming to Atlanta, coming to being a small business owner, being an actor, like, what has surprised you about the South or about Atlanta? Like, what is something that you're like?
I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. Like, New York is a little fast paced. Like, it's so so stressful. Like, you wake up in the morning, you're already stressed. Like, you breathe stress. It's in the air. But here, I gotta say, like, everything is much more laid back. But I feel like even though it's just slower paced, I have grown more than I ever did in New York in terms of like the things that I actually want to do, which I have found so surprising. And it's I think it's just because of the abundance of opportunities here, and a lot of like so many untapped opportunities here, that I have found that I know for a fact I would otherwise never had in New York. Like even like with my acting career, like I didn't expect to, like, I've been here a little bit over a year, and I have done more for my acting career here in Atlanta than I ever thought I would have in New York City, which is crazy. So it just has amazed me, like all the opportunities that I have been able to find in this city. Like, so it has made me absolutely fall in love with it.
Right. It's exciting. I mean, Atlanta, I would have to look at the statistics, but I think we're second in the nation for the entertainment industry.
It's growing. It is growing. I mean, it was always either New York or LA, you know, like. And when I was in New York, and I would tell people like I want to be an actor, but I'm not sure if I want to be in New York, they'll ask like, "Oh, are you going to LA?" And like when I tell people like, "No, I'm moving either to like Atlanta or Florida," it's like, "Why would you leave New York if you're trying to pursue acting? You are where you need to be, you know." But it's just the industry there has gotten so. I think the word I'm looking for is like bougie, like in LA, New York. It's like if you want to, you know, like they have that whole culture, like fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like you got to act like a star if you want to be a star. And when in reality, it's like, no, like I'm trying to get into the acting world, but I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, you know, there's not a lot of opportunities for people that don't have connections or people that don't have the necessary mentorship. Whereas here, again, like everyone is so willing to help out, to connect, to network, to like give out information. Whereas like in New York, I felt like I just didn't have that, you know, like not everyone, it's so competitive. Like people are not helping each other. It's just too competitive.
Right.
That makes
But
sense.
here, everyone's an open book.
We talk about that often on the show about collaboration and versus competition. And that, you know, it's not, I mean, all of us, we're athletes, you know, in high school and things. So we know about competition, and it's good to have that spark and that drive. And as female entrepreneurs, you have to, or you don't get things done. Right. But the piece of the collaboration that, you know, when one boat rises, they all rise. It's like, I don't know. I found personally, like, I like doing it I like the collaborative piece of other people and lifting, especially other women up, because I just get there faster and it's way more fun. Yeah. It's way more fun, you know?
Exactly. And that's just something you don't see everywhere, right? Like I could give you a great example right now. Shannon and I, we both have skincare brands, but I don't feel like we're in competition. But we're actually sharing ideas like, hey, what's working for you? Here's what's working for me. What hasn't been working? Like, you know, like, and I find like for me, it was actually so surprising because in other places or like I have met other people that like as soon as they see that we're doing the same thing, we're automatically competitors. We're automatically, you know, working against each other. Where it's like, why can't we just work together? You know, like there's enough money in the world for everyone. Why can't we just both figure out how to get it?
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. And I had to learn that as a server, like working in the restaurant industry, you're watching everybody else's section and you're like, wait, why did they get sat twice? Why do they have 2 tables and I don't have any tables? I've done this to get to work. I've been here for this long. And it's like, well, you're assuming that's the only money that's going to walk in here. The world is full of abundance, but it's very important. Like we were talking about your mindset. Do you have a scarcity mindset or a mindset of abundance? And especially between women, we're taught to compete against each other. And especially in business, when we talk about running businesses, that's more masculine anyways. That brings out testosterone, right? That's more competitive. And so it's really been something that I've been working on my occupational wellness. We're talking about the 8 dimensions of wellness, right? And being balanced in that. Okay, I saw that you had your table, but if you go to the back, you need somebody to watch your door. It's all of our event. If you don't bring them in, somebody's got to bring them in, or I don't have anybody at my table either, you know? So, yeah.
Well, I would be curious to ask y'all, because it does happen that fear comes up, or we're like, oh, you know, so what do y'all do personally when that comes up? When you're like, you get nervous about it, or there's not enough. Do you have a tool or technique that you use to kind of shake that off and get into the collaborative spirit?
What I do is I remember that what is for me is for me. So it doesn't matter what anybody else does. It doesn't even matter what I do sometimes. When the time is right and I do the work that I'm supposed to do and I manage what I'm responsible for, everything else will fall into place. So that I don't, like you said, I don't always live there, but when I remind myself of that, that brings me back to a steady, calm, peaceful place.
I love that.
That's a good way to think about it. Like what is for me is for me. That's a very good way to think about it. To be quite honest, like I feel like I haven't had that feeling, that emotion, like in a while. Like I think like last time I felt that was like when I used to work sales, because obviously sales, you're in that is a literal competitive environment. But here and seeing how like open people are to collaborate, I feel like it has also opened up my thoughts about collaborating. Like I no longer feel like, oh, like someone's asking me for help, but I'm gonna withhold this information because then they might, you know, do it better than me, or they make it further than me because I'm giving them this information. I no longer view it that way. It's like I want to give them the information, and if they can do more with it than I can, then I feel like I'm gonna get the information back. Like, okay, now tell me how you did it better, so we could both keep going and sharing and growing and sharing. You know?
Yeah.
So I feel like Atlanta also made me change that mindset in a way. You know?
I love that. I love that. I have to check myself on this sometimes, y'all. Like, I love to collaborate, but I was raised by a football coach in Texas, so that competitive spirit, like, is there, right? And we always laugh in my family because I'm the least competitive in my family, and if anybody ever plays board games with me, they're like, "That's not possible." I'm like, it really is. So I have to, like, I physically, when that happens, I take a deep breath, I shake it off. I'm like, whoa, like, you're not competing in a sports game. Like, you don't have to elbow somebody out, right? Remember when we played basketball and we literally had to, you know, put up our arms. So I have to sometimes check myself on that and just take a deep breath and shake it out and be like, nope, that's not true. We're in this together. And yeah. So y'all, I have loved this conversation. Shannon, do you have any last questions for Mariela?
No, I think we talked about everything. I look forward to continuing to work with you, and we'll talk later.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. Like, this conversation has been amazing. Can't wait to share this with my family, friends, and followers so they could check out how amazing you guys are. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And is there anything, where can people find you? Because we're gonna link to your website, but are there any other places they should connect with you?
If you want to find me on YouTube, I mean, if you want to find me on any social media, the handle always stays the same. It is literally my name, Mariela Percal, without the space between the A and the P. So Mariela Percal, you can find me there on Instagram, YouTube. On YouTube, I also shared my acne story, my journey moving from New York to Atlanta, and I am now sharing tips for small business growth and entrepreneurship. So you can find that there. And if you want to check out my TikTok, I haven't posted there in a while, but if you want to laugh a little,
we always like that out a lot. So we will post that in the show notes so folks can find you. Thank you so much for being with us today. And we look forward to connecting out at shows and in the real world sometime soon.
For sure. Can't wait for that. Cannot wait for that.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
Yes.
I'm so glad you met her and brought her on.
I had a great time. Of course. Of course. You know, I like to plug in people quick, and especially with quarantine, we talk about physical wellness, and we were talking about Stone Mountain, right? I know a lot of times when I think about physical wellness, I think about either sickness or health, but it's also location, right? How does your physical location affect your financial wellness? How does it affect your occupational wellness or your social wellness? So again, I told you in the show for social wellness, I've been very intentional about my support group. That means personally and professionally. And I love meeting, you know, business owners like her with Shaylo Glow. Like, it's an honor to even be in the same type of field, you know? So I think actually that's a good point. Women, a lot of times we talk about not being in competition, but as a business owner, I'm actually honored to be in competition with some of the people that are my competition as a business. You know, that's a good thing also to be out there in the racing and getting stuff done. So we had a great conversation with her. Yeah.
Well, and it could be friendly competition too, right? Where we're supporting each other. I think about sports teams, and it may have changed over the years, but you know, when I was growing up, how we'd always line up and we'd shake each other's hand or high five before and after the game. I know we can't do it right now because of the coronavirus, but you know, you were sometimes friends with those folks that you went toe to toe with when you were playing the game, right? And it was still fun. So
Yeah.
I loved what she said about how sometimes she would just run to see if she could beat her dog. Like spontaneous, to me, that was spontaneous joy for
Mm,
physical wellness.
I like that. And that is what I think about. When I think about having a dog, I think about a dog that absolutely we need to be stride for stride, or I want my dog to be active too. I can't be active and I have this dog that just sits there, So I love that she said that.
I need to give a shout out to my dog friend, Peter Parker, who comes and walks me every morning. That's part of my physical wellness. He's not my
Hmm.
dog, he's my dear friend Denise's and my neighbor's dog. And they come and walk me. About 3 months into the pandemic, they started
Mm,
doing that. So I would be off my couch, and I'm so grateful for them. And
yeah.
Peter Parker is a full-blooded poodle. He
Hmm.
has a little pom pom in the end, and he's ridiculously cute for all our listeners. I should find a picture. Hey,
Isn't
you
Peter
were talking
Parker?
about.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say, isn't Peter Parker Spider-Man's name?
Yeah.
Okay, I was making sure I didn't miss that. So wait a minute, I've heard this name before.
Right.
Uh,
Well, it was hysterical because one time I put it in my calendar wrong, and it ended up. I'm currently serving as the president of the board for Reforming Arts, and so I have a Reforming Arts calendar, and I accidentally put it in the Reforming Arts calendar instead of my personal calendar.
right.
And the executive director called me and said, "Why do I have a walk scheduled with Spider-Man?"
Spider-Man, Spider-Man. That's
Right?
funny.
You were talking about place.
Yeah.
It made me think about Alternate Roots, another
Mm,
organization I'm a part of where arts and activism meets. And we're going to have a virtual Roots weekend coming up next weekend. And it's
mm,
going to be talking about Southern soil and basically like how places make a difference,
yeah.
like collective learning in harmony with the land and the place that we're in, and how that makes an impact on us.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that because when I think about the difference between the North and the South, how she was saying people up North were competitive, wanted to keep stuff to themselves, and people down South or more sharing, we share more. I think about the people who made it to freedom, who had to escape slavery, right? And they made it to freedom. That might have been a certain type of person compared to, well, there definitely was a certain type of person compared to the type of person who decided not to try to get away that way, or who was left here. So not saying that they were more collaborative, but the energy is definitely, I feel like, tied to how that person was and then how they raised their family to be and where we are now and the way we think about things. And the way, especially being in the South, we talk about the trauma and a lot of stuff that's happened. What I do is run, being mindful of what I eat. We talked about our sleep schedule. What else do I do? Oh, can't forget about Shalo Glow, right? Because can't forget about Shalo Glow because it helps with circulation. And so I put it on my joints, on my neck, my spine, my shoulders, the elbows, knees, my hips, my ankles, and my feet. I literally, actually, not every night, but it is on the checklist to happen every night, because it won't shut down. We were talking about that before the call. How if you don't do certain things, your body's like, okay, well, I'm still up. If my feet are dry, my hands are dry when I'm trying to go to sleep, my body's like, you're not done. I don't know what you're doing. You're not done yet.
Right, and let's put a note on that
Mm,
about really calendaring your physical wellness,
yeah.
right? Because I heard that thread in each one of our stories, right? When
Hmm.
it was scheduled for us, like in high school or things like that, we were good at it, and then
Yeah.
sometimes you get off track. Life,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
got off track from doing triathlons because I had a huge bike accident and I
Mm.
injured my wrist, and so
Mm.
I couldn't do my daily yoga or my bike rides. And that was for
Mm.
about a year while I was rehabbing that wrist. And life happens. So
Yeah.
how do we, when we get off track, how do we get back on? You know, what
Yeah.
we should have asked our guest that, but what do you do when you get off track, Shannon? What do you do to get yourself back on track with physical wellness?
I just start again. I think about, oh, my goal is to run 4 times a week, and I only did this last week, or XYZ. It's good to know where you are and what happened, but instead of, because you can't run 5 times I guess you could run 5 times a day, but you can't do all of it at the same time. So I acknowledge it, and then I just start again. Okay, it's a new week. It's Wednesday. I ran this morning, so today I'm good. And then tomorrow we'll do it again. And I just try to start again and stay committed from where I'm at.
I love that. We talk about an interplay, and we also talk about in the book Still Point, like you get into trouble in little bitty steps and you can get out of trouble in little bitty steps. So like even the incremental step of, if you want to be a runner, get some running shoes. That may be the first step, right?
Yeah.
Or good walking shoes. You may need to walk before you run.
Yeah.
I've told you that and our listeners before. I currently walk run,
Yeah.
and I'm building up to running full time again. I used to be a long distance runner. And so I'm building back up to that. But yeah, those incremental steps, what does it look like? Does it look like getting up 15 minutes earlier so you can do your stretches? Does it, look like turning off the media 15 minutes earlier so you can do your skincare routine? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So, my friend, what is your wisdom in action this week?
Ooh, my wisdom in action. Let's see what we talked about. Ooh, you know what my wisdom in action is going to be, Christine? Continuing my exfoliation schedule. Because we're traveling, right, for the skin, I'm shaving and stuff. And when you shave, when you're waxing, we should make sure that we're exfoliating on a regular schedule. So I guess this is perfect time to give a shout out to Shalo Glow, right? Shout out to our sponsor, Shalo Glow, the handmade shea butter company. This is the 4-ounce multi-use butter, but we also have a sugar scrub that is perfect for exfoliation and a multi-use oil that I use throughout the day. And that's what helps me keep on schedule. So I wasn't doing it for like the last month, but that's my wisdom in action. Use Shalo Glow.
I love it. I love it. My wisdom in action, I have fallen off, not with my walking and running or biking, but with my stretching and with my yoga. And so my wisdom in action is I am getting back up 15 minutes earlier than usual. And I am doing my stretching because I know this to be true. The more exercise I get, the more sleep I need, but the more stretching I also need. So I have to rearrange my schedule a little bit, but I am willing to do that. So that's my wisdom in action. So ladies, if you have a wisdom in action, hit us up on social media and hashtag wisdom in action so we can find you. And you can also hashtag women connected in wisdom. And we would love to chat more with you. You could join us at our community at wisdom at womenconnectedinwisdom.com. And we would love to see you.
Yes. Join the conversation. And ladies, don't forget, we're here every Wednesday live at 5. We will be here next week. And in the meantime, do not forget to be well, be wise, be whole. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.